Oh wait, I said I would tell you guys the frog story. Are you guys ready for my epic frog story? So on Thursday, it was rainy. So when I got to work, I used my umbrella to walk into the building, and I left my umbrella outside the building. And we get frogs in that area. I used to think they were so cute. I have so many pictures of the cute frogs like on my phone, because I'll walk up to the building and there will be like frogs like sitting on the door handle or like in the little window, and they're cute. I'll take pictures because I've always liked frogs. So there are frogs like in that area, but I didn't think anything about it. I leave my umbrella out there because it's wet, and there's like a little awning, so I just like leave it under the awning. I go to work. I get out of work. I take my umbrella back to the car, and I put my umbrella in the car. And right as I'm about to pull out of the parking lot, a frog jumps out of the umbrella and like onto my car door. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. There was a frog in the umbrella. That's crazy. So this is no big deal to me at all. I stop the car, I get out, I catch the frog, I put it back in the grass. I'm like, go home, little baby frog. And then I get in my car and I drive home, and I don't think anything else about it. It was such a nothing ordeal. Like, I just didn't think anything about it. No big deal. Little frog in my car. Not really a little frog, it was a big frog, but yeah, I caught it and I took it out. So that's true. If it had jumped out while I was driving, I think I would have been a lot more scared. But luckily, I was like just about to pull out of the parking lot, so I wasn't like on the road yet, because it was a big frog. I would say the frog was like the body of the frog was as big as the palm of my hand. So we're talking about a pretty big frog. Definitely a frog though, and not a toad. Okay, so I don't think about it. I go home. I wake up the next morning, Friday. I'm about to go to work. It's like 7:30 because I have like a 30-minute commute. I go out to my car. I open the door, and there's this black substance, which I assumed at the time was poop, all over my car. And when I say all over, like whatever you're imagining in your head, like it's not enough. Multiply it. It was this black, like I described it as caviar like substance. It was a black substance made of like these little tiny beads. Yes, it was on the inside of the car. It was all over my front dash, all over the back dash, on every single window, like down over, like on the window and like down the door and all of that, like really bad. So I'm like, what the heck? I think there's a frog still in my car. There must have been more than one frog in my umbrella. So I start looking around. I find the frog. I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'm gonna be late to work, but it's not the end of the world. I'll just grab the frog, get it out of my car, clean up the mess, and then I'll go to work. I go to get the frog, and what does the frog do? But it jumps in the hinge of my open car door. So imagine my car door is open, and you know now there's like a little space where the hinge is opened up. Well, the frog jumps in that area, so that if I were to close my car door, I would obliterate this frog. I would obliterate it. But also, it's like impossible to get to the frog in that area, because it's like I can't really like get there easily. So the frog's like in there. I keep trying to get the frog, and it's just like jumping further up or further down or further up or further down. And then it's like it crawled into like this little pocket like inside the car. So like I literally like physically could not get my fingers in there to get the frog out. It gave its life for the other frogs. I don't know what it was doing. I mean, it's doing the same thing that all animals do when I try to catch them, is they're scared of me and they don't realize that I'm trying to save them. And it's so frustrating because I'm like, I know that this is scary for you, and I know it seems like I'm trying to hurt you, but I'm genuinely trying to save your life right now. So if you could cooperate with me, that would be nice. Oh, and just for reference, I actually had a lot of work to do on Friday that I really wanted to get done. So I was like feeling anxious to like, okay, I need to get this taken care of, and I need to get this frog out. So I got a clothes hanger. The clothes hanger worked. I was able to like scoop it in there behind the frog, and I got the frog out. So I'm like, okay, nice. frog out of my car. I search the umbrella, I don't see any more frogs. I search all around the car, I don't see any more frogs. I'm like, okay, there's no more frogs. So I grab some cleaner from my house and I start cleaning up what I think is frog poop. So I'm cleaning the car and I'm cleaning the poop, I'm cleaning the poop, I'm cleaning the poop. And it's because it's been sitting in a hot car, because at this point, it took me quite a while to catch the frog. So at this point, it's like 8:40, we're like coming up on 9. So it's been hot already. So this mystery substance has like caked onto my dash. So I'm literally having to like scrape it up. Yeah, there were clumps of it. It was like little clumps of caviar looking substance. So it took me forever to clean it all up. Okay, so I get my car cleaned. This is where it gets worse. And then as I'm cleaning my car, I just grabbed the household cleaner that I have, and it's like mango scented, because I like the scent of mangoes and it smells nice when I clean it inside of my big house that is well ventilated, right? So I'm putting it in my car and all of a sudden I notice that there's a bunch of flies. Like flies are coming. Like these big flies. Like actually a whole swarm of them. I'm like, what is happening? I think they were attracted to the sweet smell of the cleaner. So I shut all my... You see where this is going at? I shut all the car doors because I was like, oh, I do not want flies in my car right now. So I shut all the car doors. But now I'm in a tiny hot car that has been soaked in cleaner and I have asthma. And the thing is like I said, I clean with this stuff inside my house all the time, which is a big open layout that is well ventilated. But it turns out when I use this cleaner in a tiny car, when it is hot outside, it gives me an asthma attack. Yay! So now I still can't get to work. Even though I've managed to clean up, I've gotten the frog out and I've cleaned up all the frog eggs, I still can't go to work because now I can't be in my car. Like my car is literally a death trap for me. So I have to air the car out somehow. But I can't just roll the windows down because like I said, there's a swarm of flies now. So I can't just open the windows and let it air out. So I think the best way to ventilate my car would be to roll the windows and drive around, right? That'll get it ventilated. Then I can get to work. Except I can't do that. Wow. I can't do that. You want to know why? Because where I live, there is a really popular tree, a tree that is everywhere that I am super allergic to. So when I drive with my windows down, sometimes it's okay, and sometimes I have a severe allergic reaction and my eyes swell shut. So I can't just drive my car with the windows down. I'm living on hard mode. For some reason, it's specifically when I drive with my windows down too, is when I get like the really bad allergic reactions. I learned it the hard way. And then I used to always drive with my car windows down because I like the way it feels. I don't really like the air conditioner in my car. I find it unpleasant, but I like driving with the windows down and I just can't do this. So I have to bother my dear mom because I'm really trying to get to work today. So I have to bother my dear mom to be like, hey, can you drive my car around for a little while and air it out so that I can drive it to work? So my mom gets in the car, she drives around, and I'm like, everything's fine now. I'm going to get to work now. She'll come back, I'll get to work, everything's good. She's gonna pick me up some yummy coffee too. While she's out, I'm happy, right? I get a phone call while she's out. Runie, I have some bad news. While I was driving, a frog jumped on my foot. There was another frog! There were more frogs! So then she comes home, and I have another full-on adventure. Why did I leave the frog in I didn't know that it was there! This was another frog. This was a third frog that was somewhere in my car. I don't know where it was hiding because I looked everywhere. I looked everywhere in my car. I thought for sure there were no more frogs. That would have been the third frog. That was the third frog that had been in that umbrella. The third frog. Anyways, this frog was a little bit easier to catch than the second one, but not as easy as the first. This was the medium. First one was easy, second one was hard, third one was medium difficulty to find the frog. So I get that frog out. Also letting you know that this the first two frogs looked the same. The third frog looked like those frogs but was little. So now I'm convinced that it was a frog family. I think it was a mommy frog and a daddy frog and a baby frog. And I took daddy frog and I put him out at the work. And then mommy frog and baby frog got put out at my house, which, by the way, is 30 minutes away from my work. So I just destroyed a family by accident. I tore a family apart because I'm truly evil. No, actually, I felt really bad. I was like in that I was just very stressed. I was in that stressed zone, so everything felt really serious. So I'm like telling my mom, I'm like, and I think it was a family. I think it was a family, and now one of them's like 30 minutes away. And my mom was like, Runie, they're frogs. I was like, okay, you're right. I'm overreacting. They're frogs. It's fine. But then I get to work. This is the last part of the story. I get to work, and of course, what am I doing? I'm just walking around gossiping about the frogs in my car to all of my coworkers. They all must know why I was late, because I didn't end up getting in until like noon. So I spent from 7:30 until 11:30 just catching frogs and cleaning frog poop. But I didn't really get half the day off because I had to use my vacation time. What the heck? Bleh. So I get there and I'm telling everybody about the frogs. And one of my coworkers is like, Runie, I don't think that's what frog poop looks like. You said it looks like caviar? I think frog poop looks like regular poop. I'm pretty sure frog poop just looks like any other poop. So this is what inspires multiple of my coworkers and I doing a deep dive Google search on, first of all, we identified the frog because I had pictures. So I was able to identify exactly what kind of frog that I had. And we learned all this stuff about frogs. And that's how I figured out that it was actually frog eggs. They were frog eggs that were all over my car. It was not poop. It was frog eggs, because what can happen is when a frog is in duress, they can just spontaneously evacuate their eggs. They come out as little black dots in this like whitish, clearish goo. But when that goo sits out, like let's say in the baking sun, that will evaporate and it'll end up looking kind of like caviar. So it was frog eggs. See, my mom thinks the fact that it was frog eggs is better than it being frog poop, but I feel the opposite. I feel like I would have rathered it just been frog poop instead of frog eggs. Yeah, they never ordinarily would have laid their eggs in my car. They would have laid them in water or like on the underside of a leaf near water. It was a very completely abnormal place for them to lay eggs. That's why it's almost certain that they weren't really laying the eggs, and probably because that's why it was by all the windows, is because they were probably going to the windows trying to get out and realizing that they were stuck in like during the night and getting really anxious, and then like spontaneously evacuated the eggs. I'm gonna guess that the eggs were not fertilized. A frog dirtied my car. What's funny is that when I emailed my boss to say I was going to be late, I didn't know how to be like, there's a frog in my car. So I was just like, I'm having car troubles. That's how I said it. I was like, I'm having car troubles. I'll be in as soon as I can. And so then of course I get in and everyone's like, oh, I hope you weren't stranded. I hope your car's okay. I hope everything's fine. And then that's when I got to hit them with, It was a frog invasion. It was frogs. There were frogs in my car. My car was impregnated by frogs. I'm gonna have a frog car. There's gonna be a frog car baby. A baby frog car. I'm imagining a little tiny car branded like a frog. And that's actually cute as heck. That's so cute. Fine then. Goodbye. Goodbye then. Goodbye forever.